they have these calendars. You can see them at dollar stores or any type of like calendar place, or bookstore, wherever you buy your calendars. And most calendars are, you have trees, you have lakes, ponds, snowscapes. You'll have birds, koalas, birds, cute animals, cats, dogs, bunnies. Okay. But we're very selective with the natural world, right? The natural world, we're very selective with it. We tend to make this differentiation between the natural world, animals and everything, and human beings. Human beings are trash, and the animals are just great. But what we make our calendars on is really, really very selective and really taking things out of context. Context would be the entire natural world as a whole. It's real good to take things in context, right? Well, so you might have seen, if you're on the East Coast, I don't know where they are around the country, but if you have locusts, okay, if you have cicadas, you will have this other kind of bug. When I first saw them some years ago, I said to myself, what the hell is that? Huge, looked like it has a huge stinger, thick, with yellow and black stripes on it. And I thought it was like some queen bee or something, right? Some queen wasp. News report, queen bees don't get that big. They fly really sporadically, and sometimes like when you're walking outside, they'll just like bump into you, and terrifying. Well, I soon found out they're called cicada killer wasps. Okay? Cicada killer wasps. And I was like, what are these things? Because, my daughter, she was terrified of them. She's outside with her friends. She's like, what's going on here? They're chasing us. And I come to find out they're not interested in us at all. And I also come to find out those are the females. The males just look like huge black flies that just sit on the outside of your window for like 6 hours. It looks like all they do is mate, and that's it. But the females are the ones that look huge. The cicada killer wasps. Imagine a name like that branded on you as a creature, as a being. All right? This is what they do. They supposedly go up into the trees where the cicadas are. You can hear the cicadas, in the summer. It'll be real loud. And they go up there and they sting one of them and paralyze it and carry it. That's why they're so big. They carry it down into a hole in the grass. You'll see these holes, by the way. It's from cicada killer wasps. There's like all this dirt out, and there's like a deep hole. They carry that paralyzed cicada into the hole where their babies are. And then their babies feed on the paralyzed cicada. So they're feeding on it while it's alive. Now, this is just what I've learned about them. If you have any more information on cicada killer wasp, please feel free to put it, in the comments here. Any corrections, let me know. But I've done some research on them. The horrors of the natural world. My daughter heard that because she wanted to know what they were. She heard that and she was mortified. You see, I wouldn't let her watch the Hostel movies right now at this age of 10. I wouldn't let her watch House of a Thousand Corpses. I wouldn't let her watch Wolf Creek. But she's outside playing with her friends and getting chased by things that paralyze another thing and feed on it while it's alive and paralyzed. So in a way, it's almost like they give the thing ALS. Now, here's she was just so disturbed by it. It was almost like, I almost felt wrong for telling her about the natural world like that, right? And as you get older, you learn more about the horrors of the natural world. If you ever watch the National Geographic shows, you'd be like, my gosh, this should be rated R. I mean, it's like crazy. You're watching these lions just tear apart zebras, and you're just and whenever there's whenever there's they target the ones that are, you know, deformed or hurt or limping or, you know, whatever. And I forget which one is which, but lions or tigers, one of them likes to eat the animal alive and the other one likes to kill it first before it eats it. But the horrors of the natural world, I mean, just the insects in your backyard or the insects inside your house can be horrific enough. The damage a brown recluse spider can do, the damage a black widow spider can do. And shall we mention the black widow? I mean, Alice Cooper has a song called Black Widow based upon this spider. And, you know, haunted attractions and horror movies. Should we talk about the Black Widow, the fact that this is a female who mates with the male and then kills him and eats him after she mates with him? The horrors of the natural world. Where are the calendars on the cicada killer wasps for your year? Where are the calendars for, you know, your black widow spiders? You know, where are your calendars for these? You know, a lion, you know, ripping apart a limping zebra. So the horrors of the natural world. You know, the horrors can also take the form of our genetic code, our DNA. Some of us are given bad genes. I know I was, right? But to our body, those genes that will make us sick, that will give us a disease, it could be muscular dystrophy, it could be cancer, heart disease, anything. These genes are just like the genes you have for the color of your hair, the color of your skin, the color of your eyes. To your body, it's just genetic code that just is carried with you. It's like, here's, you know, it's just the same old. Here's the DNA for the color of your eyes, and here's the DNA for your form of cancer you're going to have. To your body, it's just part of the genetic code. And if you've ever had mold in your house, if you've ever had a mold problem, black mold, any type of mold, you'll realize real fast the horrors of the natural world. You know, mold is just trying to exist. But so are we in our houses. What about viruses? Are viruses like the natural world zombies? Because viruses, by definition, we all know the damage they do. Like, seriously, the damage they've done through us throughout history. But by definition, they're not even really alive. So I can't even really call them a zombie, because zombies were once alive and then they died and then they're the living dead. Whereas viruses, they're not even by definition alive. Like bacteria is alive. And wow, the horrors of the natural world with bacteria. Can we talk about that? AKA flesh eating. You know, mold is just trying to survive. Bacteria is just trying to survive. Viruses, living or dead, are just trying to do their thing. What about parasites? There's a whole host of parasites. Of course, the most popular ones would be tapeworm, and you know, you have all these, but you can even have things like protozoa that are, you know, real small parasites inside of you. And it's so funny, but it is said that most people have parasites and don't even know it. That most of their diseases are actually caused by parasites. And they're being misdiagnosed and taking drugs to just cover a symptom of something that's really there. I had a friend who's a doctor who said, she said that recently, about 2 months ago, she said, most of the time when people get an MRI and they're diagnosed with a brain tumor, lots of times those are parasites embedded in their brains. And I was like, what? I mean, this isn't even anything, you know, she's just a doctor who was, you know, giving me insight in what they were seeing on x-rays and how people were getting misdiagnosed. And then afterwards they were seeing like clumps of worms embedded in people's brains. It's like, well, wait a minute, man. This is crazy. You don't get parasites from if you live in America. And it's like, holy crap, wait a second. You do the research, you can get them from kissing somebody. You can get them from eating food from somebody who didn't wash their hands too well and they got eggs under their nails. The horrors of the natural world. But see, tapeworms are just trying to survive too, man. They're just trying to survive too in the natural world. I really love 1920s horror films, 1930s in particular. And in the late 20s, well, up to I think 34, there was no MPAA rating system. There was no R rating, PG, G. There was no rating system until I think 1934. But one of the beautiful things about watching horror films from the 20s or the 30s is the fact that you're watching a movie where every single person who worked on that film, who's acted in that film, every single person in the credits is dead. They're all dead. That is a very interesting experience. Also coupled with the fact that you're watching people who lived in a much more barbaric world than we think we do. Emphasis on think. You see, that's one of the other things that horror movies really kind of drive home. The horrors of the natural world. You know, we have our house, our roof. It's built with wood and cement and brick, right? We have our cars that are built with metals and protect us from rain and water and snow. And we have our air conditioning and our heating systems. We have our high-tech phones that can tell us about weather systems. But the fact of the matter is that as soon as a tree falls into your house, as soon as an earthquake levels your school, as soon as a tornado or a hurricane rips apart your living space or destroys your car, you don't think that life is as barbaric as it used to be. You see, we have our anesthesia now. Back in the day, people were awake while they were having surgery. They were utilizing alcohol and other means. People were dying from a cavity. So the question is life less barbaric now than it was a long time ago? No, probably not. No, it's not. It's just our technology and our advances make us think it's not barbaric. But as soon as we're on our deathbeds and as soon as our houses are destroyed, we get these reminders. As soon as we're diagnosed with cancer, we get these reminders and we don't like it because our life has been neatly stacked with bricks, cement, roof, and wood. And all of a sudden, we're reminded about the horrors of the natural world. We might put a costume on now with our advances, but we're living in the same place where people, matter of fact, the land that you are on, that you're standing or sitting on right now in your house or wherever you are, lots of people's dead bodies are probably, if there could be ghosts, there'd be dead people from that plot of land that died there. They died of flu, they died of dysentery, they died at battle. So when you watch a film from the 20s, you're looking at real life ghosts. And these YouTube pages that we have, one day, if the internet stays and if YouTube stays, we won't stay. But these videos will probably stay and we will be ghosts. Ghosts of a life of memories and ghosts of a specific time in history. The horrors of the natural world. They're reflected in the horror genre with our mortality, creatures like Jaws, David Cronenberg showing how our bodies can turn against us. Which, have you ever heard of an autoimmune disease, anybody? Have you ever heard of cancer? And the life cycle goes on and on and on. And it's like we are trying to be a little bit sophisticated, but the natural world around us is sticking their stinger in a living creature, paralyzing it, dragging it into a hole, and letting its babies feed on its living, paralyzed body. Happy Halloween.